Hi, everyone. Hi, embroidery software specialist. And I'm going to put on the camera so you can see me and we'll get started. Sorry about the little bit of a late start today. There we go. All right. Whew, a little bit of a late start. Sorry about that. And let's see, I'm going to get my comments up so we can see who is out there today. So I got to come in here, make sure my volume is down so I don't blast off there. And we'll open this and see what's going on. Oh my gosh. Facebook keeps having me have to sign in. This is really a problem. I don't know why it's doing this. And so I can't check in today. All right, too much to go with that. See if that opens. No, it doesn't. All right, everyone. So if you're out there, thank you for joining me. I'm going to see if I can put comments up here. There we go. I have some other comments up, so that'll work out just fine. So today we're talking about AcuStitch. And for those that don't know what it is, it's a standalone software for embroidery, and we can use it. It actually uses the designs in my camera. There we go. It actually uses sewing designs, decorative stitches from your sewing side over on the embroidery side. And in the packaging, you get the AcuStitch CD and the Stitch Composer CD, so you can create your own stitches as well. And as we go along, I'm going to show you, we're starting today with just our overview. We're going to make a cute little project. I have a little pin cushion here inspired by Miriam Coffey. So I did my design and she did hers last week. So you'll have to check that out. I'm following some of the directions of putting it together from her. So you can go back to that part of it. And I'll show you how I created that. She did hers all on the decorative stitch side. I'm doing mine all on the embroidery side. And I'll show you all of our combo embroidery machines and our embroidery only machines, except for maybe the MB4, MB7, can use this software. Though I don't understand, I think unless the hoops aren't in there, I'll double check on that when we look at it. So any of those embroidery onlys and our combo machines can use this as well. And it is a standalone product. Within the product, of course, Janome always puts a manual. And you can, I think if you go to the global site, you'll find the downloads there, the digital downloads. Once you purchase the product, you'll be able to use the digital download and then put your number in and do it that way. But you can print out some of the design sheets that are in there. So these are called the ruler work designs. We will work with those. And then they have the stitch designs, and you'll recognize some of these when I hold them up. These are some of the designs that are built in, so you can use those stitch designs. But the manual itself is about an inch deep, and I actually reuse my paper, so that's why you see that. But you can go ahead and print it out if you want and tab it. And I'll show you how I do mine, because I have OneNote, and I took it in there by chapter and then printed each chapter. It was a little bit easier that way. I don't always like to print stuff because this is a lot of paper, but I do reuse paper, so that's okay, I guess. Anyways, so you can make that choice on your own. If you want a printed copy, you definitely can do that, but it is built into the software itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my camera, and I'll give you a little tour of the software, and then I'll show you how I created my project, and I have one other sample to show you, not stitched out yet, but just something you can do. And as we go along, I'll be adding more features, talking about those particular parts a little bit more. Today we're doing what I like to call the point and click and create. So for me, that's the most fun. As we go along, I might have more specific things with, using actual numbers, like this has to be whatever millimeter or whatever. And the software, unfortunately, only comes in millimeter. There's not a conversion for inches. So we will be working in millimeter, and we can handle it. All right, so let's go over to the camera, and I will show you the software. Now, I am filming my software today, and instead of streaming it directly. So it's a little bit it might be a little harder to see this way, but I will zoom in for you so you can see a bit better. And I can, let me see here. I'll zoom a little bit. And then I have to move my camera. Let me go back out a little bit. So across the top are your tools. And let me get my pointer. So I'm going to point over here. Way over here, we've seen this before. If you've done Janome, there's a tiny blue question mark. That's where your manual is. And I'm going to click on that so you can see it. We'll open it up. That's your help files. And it starts way up here. And all of these things you can, let's see. There we go. You can expand these and there's more information underneath them. So this is what I would call a chapter. So I would print this, I would take this over to my OneNote. And because I have OneNote, when I go here and I go to print, and I want to print selected heading and all subtitles. So I'm going to click there and this. And then over here, see I have OneNote. I can take it to OneNote. And then when I go to OneNote, I'm going to close this because I'm going to show you OneNote. I think it will open here. There we go. So in OneNote, let me back out. In OneNote, I can have all these chapters. These are the chapters. And I could just page through them over here. Okay. So you can print it out any way you like. It's really up to you how you want to do that. That's just one way that I do it. I'm going to close that. So that's where your help files are, right over here. So let's go back to the other side. And if I miss a comment, I will go back after we're done and put those in. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is I did put up a reminder about this on the Janome Sewing Machines page. So I don't know if anybody did that reminder and if they got sent a reminder. If you did, post in there that you got a reminder. I did it for tomorrow's video as well. So here's our menu. So there's some information under our menu. So we're going to start there. And any of the stuff that's in the menu, these things here can actually be put up on the ribbon as well for quick access. So you don't have to keep opening that menu. And for many of us, we didn't realize this little button here is a menu. Well, a lot of our software has that little button up there. So I can do create new. I can open something I created already. I can open my designs and so forth. Down here, these are grayed out because I don't have anything on my screen. Here's that stitch reference chart. And you can print this out. That's how I went ahead to do that. And then let's go back here. And then here is your template for your ruler work. And these can be set in a run stitch, double stitch, or triple stitch, or you can add a decorative stitch on there. So we're going to play with some of these, especially these letters over here, because you can make these into appliques, these bubble letters, which look like really fun. So we'll be playing with those as we go along. And then down here, you can do your model selection. Before you open that though, if you have this software, check your version because you should be at 2.2 or 2.3. I have to double check. I thought I saw there might be one more, it'd be on the global page, but we should be at 2.2 at least right now. So if you have an older version, go to our global page and do the update there. They explain how to do it. And then here's our model selection. So I picked the CM17 because that's what I have. And then you can see all of the machines, the 400, the 450, the 500, the Elna side. We have some on the Elna. Here we have our Skyline 9 and our Antlier 9 over here. These are our European. Some of these are European models across here. And we have our American side models starting with the 99, 9850 SE and the 9850, the Expressive. These are the Elna side. Elna, here we come up to the 14,000, our 15, and of course the CM17. So if you have any of those machines, you should be able to use the software. So, oh, that's a good question. Susan has a good question here. Her question is it the same as Horizon Link Suite? So what what happened with Horizon Link Suite when we went to version 3 with the 15,000, they gave us along, when you open, it looks very much like Horizon Link Suite. When you open up here, there's a little thing that says Create STX. So they gave us a little tidbit of it to get us started. So you do, if you're a version 3 15,000, you have it in there, but it's not the full program. So with our update to 2.0 on the standalone product, we've got our ruler work and more designs. So here's all the designs that you can use. These are where you apply your stitches to these designs in there. So you can, they're really fun. You can pick something like this, and when you pick it, then you have to come in here, and I'm going to show you. Here are those design groupings that we see on our sewing machine, and you pick from there. It's not every single one, but there are a lot of them. And so I picked, let's see, like a hexie there. And I could put any design on that. So I'm going to pick a decorative. And I like, what do I like? I do like this one here. I like number 004. So I'm going to double click, go to 04, this little circle. I'm going to say open. And you can see right here, it's hard to see. It's actually down. So let me see if I can get my screen to, there we go. So down here, it shows it's an STX file, and I'm going to do open. And then here is our design window. Let me move my screen, hang on one second. Let me move this up higher for my camera, and then I'll open that again. This one, and number 4, and open. So in this window, this is where we would make our decisions on what we want to do with this file. Okay, with this design. And right now you can see it's sort of in a circle here. I'll zoom in a little bit. It's set it on a little bit of a hexie, but it's not really showing. So here I can change the width, the height, the length of the stitch. So a little bit with the width. Let's play with width. And as it gets bigger, it will split. Let's do height a little bit. There it is. Now it's starting to show the shape. I can change the length of the stitch, and that's the length on the stitch. I don't want to get much bigger than that. So let me go with this. So you can see that hexie shape now. I can change the number of sides right here. So maybe I want 5 or less. So maybe I'm doing a project and I just want to put maybe a border on one side of it. I can do that. Or maybe it looks like a little bit like you're doing a house. So you have some options, and depending on what design you pick, you have more or less designs here. You have advanced settings here, so you can change the spacing between your designs in here. So if we want them further apart, you can do that, or you can bring them closer together like that. You can change it manually here, and of course the zoom. And once you're done, you hit convert, close your window, and there it is. Now if you, let's just do a quick one over here, and I'm going to pick this guy, and I'm going to do open, and I'm going to move my window to the side here so we can still see it. I'm just going to make a little bit of a change on there, and then I will do convert. So you can see it down here, and if I need to make changes, let's see, I think it'll go. Oh, I have to convert it again. So it would give me a second one. But you could even go in, since I have 2 now, and I want this, maybe I want the second one, not the first one. Let me close that window. I can pick that one and delete. So I can check my sizing in there, okay? Let me look at comments really quick. All right, so where do you find the updates? On the Janome Global page are the updates. If you put in your search on your Google search, do Janome Global, and then scroll down the page, you'll find Janome Global, check it. It looks like it's in Japanese, but it's not. Check there, and then when it opens, you'll have a couple of tabs at the top, and you'll find, I think under one of them it's products, and then under there, you'll find software updates, machine updates are there, and so forth. So that's where you will find it right there. Now, I want to tell you, when you do an update, Janome is very good about giving you lots of information. So they give you things that PDFs that you can print out, and they give you those in the beginning on how to download, extract. There's one for how to load your USB stick. All of those, take a look at all of those because they're important for that upgrade. And then when you download your upgrade and you extract it, there might be another PDF in those directions inside there with more directions. So always look there. And you don't want to load that download onto your, extract it and just put the whole thing on your USB stick. There's one file on there they want you to move there. So it's important to read those directions so you have it. All right, so let me close this. I'm going to close this one. Well, I'll leave it up while I'm working. So here's your digital ruler work. And as I said, you'll be able to find, you'll just click on these and be able to use those. We will use those in another project. Here I can go out to my designs, and I can have a USB stick in. I could go there. I could go to my C drive. I can go to users, my name, and then I have my things under OneDrive. Here we go. And then I have an embroidery file. So in here, if there's something that I want to bring in, I can bring in any of these designs. Let's see. And I could add the AcuStitch things to this design if I wanted to, okay? That's how that works. If you want to add lettering, you have your lettering tab, just like in your machine or in Horizon Link Suite or Embroidery Link, we have lettering. Here's our lettering here. These are the same that's built into your CM17 or your 15,000. Depending on which machine you picked, it will give you only those available for that machine, I believe. You might get more here. I don't have other machines to hook up to. Here's your sizing, how you're going to place your lettering, spacing, and of course my favorite designs, border and normal sew over here. And now I can use my decorative stitches from my machine. So I'm like super happy. I can even create a stitch in Stitch Composer and then bring that in and use it with my with AcuStitch. So this is a design that I created. I call it my X's and O's. And I brought it into AcuStitch and I applied it to one of the shapes. And then I took it out of there and I took it actually into Artistic Digitizer and I did more things with it. So I'll show you that. That's going to be as we build our lesson, so you can do that. So with an 11,000, what I would do, Janice, is I would, do you have other software as well? If you have Artistic Digitizer, what you could do is you could open AcuStitch in probably one of the, like a 9850, and open it with that because it's smaller hoops, create in there. It saves as a GEF. And then from the GEF, you could probably take it into Artistic Digitizer. And then from there, you can put it in the hoop of your 11,000. It may just take it as a GEF file as long as it's not bigger than the hoop that you pick for your 11,000. You wouldn't want to pick the CM17 because our hoops are much too large. So you want to make sure you pick the smaller hoops, but it is doable. There's always a way around something, I always say. Now, once you pick the lettering, you get another tab at the top here called Style. So you don't have to go back and forth opening it. So we were on the Home tab, and you have monogramming in here as well. And since I have something on my machine, I can actually send that to my USB stick since I have my USB stick stuck in here. So I can click on that and it opens up this window, the Write a Design window. I don't need to go over here to File, Save As, and look for my USB stick. Right here, it's opened it up for me. There's my USB drive. I'm going to select it. When I select it, I see at the top my EMB folder, and then I have all these folders that are inside my EMB folder, even a loose design. But here's the EMBF. If you are an EMBF person, open your EMBF and then you can save your design. Once you get in this far, this red arrow will light up. You can name it, which I've named these over here. So I'm just going to name it test. Oops, wait a minute. Let's take this out of here. Here we go. You got to hit the rename and then backspace and test. There we go. And okay. And then once I do that, I can hit this arrow. It's going to close the whole window. I could move amongst folders, all kinds of things down here. There we go. So let's open that up so you can see it again. There's my test file. It's in the EMBF. If I want to see the EMB, there it is. My USB drive, EMB with the EMBF. Okay. Some of our machines, you don't need those folders anymore, but there they are here. And when you use a new USB with this, it will put those folders on there for you. Usually when you use software within Janome, it puts your EMB and your EMBF folder on there for you. All right, so I'm just going to close this now because I don't need it. Under Edit, this is where the fun starts. So once you're in Edit, you have these tools to work with. Copy and paste, undo, redo, vertical, horizontal mirror, resize, rotate. This resize is only like our machine. It stretches and puts it closer. If you need this bigger, I would go back into the home and pick your design again and put it in that way. That adjusts the size of the stitch itself. Here now, this is only going to stretch it out. You can change the colors of your designs by clicking here. Click on one of your pieces, click colors. The window will come up. It shows you that. I can make that pink and okay. And now you can see that one is pink. This is if I had any lettering in there. This is for aligning. We have an alignment tool in here. So if I had my pieces and I need to align them a certain way, I would use the alignment tool. And we're going to play with that another time. We have the center and copy it to four corner and sewing order. So if I wanted this one first and that one second, I could move them around in that way, okay? And change the order. All right, so let's work on the little project that I had planned today. I'm going to come up to my little ribbon because I did put a create new file right there. And I don't need to save this, say no. And I'm going to go to the Home tab, and I'm going to pick my first shape. And I started with my center shape, and my center shape was under Pictograph, and it is the little spool of thread. So I'm going to hold this up here so you can see. That's the little spool of thread, if you can see it there. There we go. And it's attached by oops, we are not in Pictograph. Let's go up here. To go back to the list, just use the little green arrow right here, the folder with the green arrow. Pick your folder, double click, and then this one is here. Now you can create any design you want. This is the design I chose. You know me, it's always up to you. So there it is. Let's bring it up. I'm going to zoom. I'm just zooming now. It's not changing size. I've zoomed up. And then here's my sizing, and I'm going to change the width until I get the two designs sticking out there. Let me see if I can get the other one. Let me change the height a little bit. Now on future lessons, I will write down these numbers for you, but today like I said, I want to do the point and click. I want you to be a little free and easy on this just to get used to clicking and seeing what happens. In future lessons, I will give you actual numbers and we'll have things to follow. Now, tapered tip, that means it's doing a little funky thing there. On this design, it doesn't make much sense to have a tapering. So I'm going to say I don't want it, and it takes that little extra piece away. Under the advanced, I could make some changes here on how far apart I want things, and I could change my manual pattern width and length, but I'm going to leave it just like this for now. I'm going to touch convert, and there it is on my page, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back and get the next design, which was, there's really which is the, let me get this in the right spot. There we go. Is the sewing needle and the thread. And I picked a square, this square right here. And the sewing needle and the thread is number 13 in that same one. So we'll pick that. Oops, wait a minute, maybe it's 11. There it is, it's 11. And I'm going to open. And then I'm going to increase that. Now the outer side of that on mine, I did write that down. I think I had it at 109. So let's see here. There's 109. And I want to come in a little bit. Again, you can change your sides. You can also change your, let's go under advanced here. If you want to change your length and your height of your stitch, and then you can invert it. So here my needles are pointing inside. I can go, I can mirror on the width, or I can mirror on the length. There they go, they're outside, however you like to do them. And they have a nice little point right in there, which is fine. So it's almost 109. Let's go there we go, 109 by 109. And then I'm going to hit convert, and I'm going to close this window. There we go. And I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see closer. And on my sample, I wanted my spool of thread to come right in here. And I think I need to make this slightly bigger. So I'm actually just going to use, under edit, I'm going to use the resize up here. And I'm just going to bring it out a little bit like that. There we go. So it's just slightly touching right there. Now I have space in here to bring in one more thing. And to bring in that one scissor, see how I have the scissor here? Let's see if I can show it. There we go. See the scissor right there? I went back to my shapes, home tab. Under the shapes, they have this one right here, straight. So I'm just going to pick that. I'm going to pick the scissor, which I think was 12, and I'm going to do open. And I'm going to, here is number of cycles. So I only want one cycle, and I'm going to make it big. Oh, go back here, turn that on, the length. Oops, one cycle, go back down. There we go. And I may have to make it bigger here. There we go. And then here's where, you know, if it's, you want it on a line, on the middle, straddling the line, or on the other side of the line. I can have it straddle the line for what I'm doing, and I don't need the layout here. I'm fine. So I'm going to hit convert, and then I have, it's right in the center. So I'm going to use the arrow key on my keyboard. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can grab it. Oh, I got to close this. Sorry. Arrow key. There we go. So I'm using my arrow key because sometimes when they're on top of each other, they're hard to get a hold of. So I got one design here now. And then I'm going to come over here. And if I need to make it a little bigger, of course, I can do the resize under edit, and I may just resize it a little bit. Remember, this is just stretching out those stitches just a little bit. I'm going to rotate it, and I want to rotate it this way, I think. Let's see. There we go. You can put in numbers to rotate as well, and then I'll put it wherever I want. I want to put one in every section here. And let me look at my sample. Did I put them? Oh, I did them the other way, handles out. So let's do, there we go. I just did the vertical and the horizontal, so they're that way. I want to maybe put them back. Maybe they need to rotate a little more this way. There we go. And then I want to copy to four corners. Here we go. Boom. How cool is that? So our project is basically done. At this point, it's all in black. If I wanted, I can leave it all in black, or if I want to, I can select each part. I'll leave that one in black. I can select each part and change the colors of it, just so that maybe in the machine. Now these I want to put as all the same color. So I'm going to pick Where's that pink? I'll do pink. And let me go down here. I don't think you can do multiples. Let me try it. I think I tried this already. Yeah, you cannot change multiples. You have to do them individually. So you're just going to go back and forth and pick your colors. Now, I probably should have left those black and pick the other ones, but there we go. And if I wanted to change the order of the stitching, if I wanted something to stitch before the others, I could do that at this point as well, but I don't mind having the scissors last. You can just move those in the design list as well. And then at the bottom here in millimeter, it's giving you the size of this. These little boxes, under view, you have your zoom in, zoom out, you have your fit to window, and which mine is already, because I have my window sort of in a different position today. I have it minimized in the first place. You can turn off this design list if you don't want that. That little status bar down here that tells you your hoop, the size, all that stuff here, your machine, you can turn that off. You can turn your center line off. If you don't want a center line, you can turn the center line off. You can change the color of your background to something else if you like something else. Let's try that. Oh, maybe a little bit lighter, maybe that one. And okay. So you can have a different background. Here you can change the intensity of your grid. This is normal. I don't know if you can see it. This is less, and then this is going to be no grid at all. And I can change the size. I think our grid is a size 11 or 10 or 11 on our machines. So this would match the same grid if I put my center line back up and counted. These would be the same amount of boxes on the hoop that I'm using. And this is, I picked the, let me go put this back on so I can see my status bar. I did pick the SQ28, so that's a fairly big design. My original design I did in the RE20D, and it still fits in there. And there you go. And of course, you want, if I would do two things. One, I would save this to my computer. So I would come up here and do a save as. It's going to open to my computer, and then I would figure out where, well, I have a folder that says under apps and software, AcuStitch, and here are my AcuStitch designs. And this is let's see, I'm going to call it PC2. There we go, and save. And it's saving as a Jeff. So you have Jeff, Jeff Plus, and Jeff. So you can leave it at the default of Jeff Plus. That's fine. This is only for PC, this software. It's you can use it on Mac if you're using a Parallels or maybe Boot Camp, but it is a PC product. I know we have products that are, you know, for Mac now and for iPad and Android, but this is a PC only product. So I saved it there. Now I could write it to my USB stick. Since I was already here at my EMBF, it's left it up. There's the name of it, and I could just send it over. My USB stick is in my machine. I would come over to my task menu and do the remove your stick portion, and then I would take it to my machine and I could stitch it out. So let me go back to the camera because I'm going to show you one more thing. All right, I think we're pretty good with questions. I'm just going to go back up here. Oh, so yeah, Artistic Digitizer is a full digitizing program. And within your Artistic Digitizer, you do have decorative stitches, but these ones are the ones that are in our machines that we're familiar with. So now we can use those designs in AcuStitch, and we can take them from AcuStitch as a JEF file into our Artistic Digitizer and play with them some more, as I did with that one pillow. So for me, you need them all. You need all these different programs because you can do so many different things. There are decorative stitches in Artistic Digitizer. You have to create your shapes to do it. Here we have shapes already made, and they're so much fun to work with. Playing with those new ruler work designs, those are going to be fun to play with as well. Uh-oh. Yes, I think my Facebook user is, oh, it's coming up as Facebook user, and that's Dot back here. So I can see me back there. There's Dot, the polka, on polka to her Dot. So here we go. Let me just show you how I did things here. So here's when I stitched it out, it looks like this. And I do use a basting stitch. So in my hoop, I have stabilizer. On top of my stabilizer, I have some batting here, right here, and then my top fabric. And then I usually do a basting stitch first so I know where to put this, and then I center that on there, baste it down, and then I trimmed from the basting stitch out a 1/2 inch on here. I think that's a half, or maybe that's an inch. I wanted to give myself plenty of room because this one here, I'm going to show you this one. Take some pins out. This one here, I left a 1/4 inch. So I really can't sew that at a 1/4 inch because I'll sew right into this design. So I really should have, I cut my fabric from the beginning too small. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'll just use a thinner seam allowance on that one. So what you do is you pin your pieces together, and you're going to sew around. You're going to leave an opening to turn it. Before you turn it, you're going to do the part where you box the corners. So here's where I'm going to turn it between these 2 pins. Now I put in my blue head pins, and then I know these 2 pins are where I turn it. I did draw on here for you guys to show you. When I am stitching around, I like to stitch up and then stitch over so that I make this channel. I'll come back around when I get to this side. I'll stitch over and down so that I have a nice channel. And as I showed in the beginning, let me see, there's where my opening, and you can't even see it. I don't even have it stitched. I probably won't close it because I like to show it as an example on there. And then once you get this done, you can measure and mark your corners. I'll put one up like this. This is a 1/2 inch one. And I measured a 1/2 inch in. Let me double check. Oh, this is the inch one. Yep, this is my inch one. I have a whole bunch laying on here. They're different sizes. So I measured in, you can measure in a 1/2 inch. I measured an inch on my big one. And then once you cut that out, you pull it apart like this, put your seams together, make your seam allowances opposite if you want. On mine, I didn't because I wanted that heavy batting, so I didn't do any batting on this side to go down. Sew that across, and once you get them all done, turn it, stuff it. You can stuff it with polyfill like I did here, or you can use the walnut shells if you like that. So there we go. And depending on how much extra fabric you have, this ended up on the sides of my pin cushion, and there's where I boxed my corners. If you have a lot of extra like here and the way you box, it might not be on the on the side. It just depends on how you do it. But you can use any of those shapes and create the top of your little pin cushion. And I'm still using up my Janome fabrics. All right, so I should see it. I see me behind there. Are you the penguin or are you in the picture? There we go. All right, everybody, I'm going to let you go. I think we're all good on questions. I think so. And I will be back tomorrow on the same place, same bat channel. And I'm doing Zipper Pouch of the Month number 7. I can't believe it. We're up to number 7. That one I'll stream over onto the Janome Artistic Digitizer page as well. So you can catch it there or over here at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And what else? We're going to do we're doing a pouch with a surprise. So that's all I've got to tell you. Tune in tomorrow. If you miss it, you can always come back later and catch the video. I did post some things on the Janome Artistic Digitizer page and the Continental Club page on how to save those videos when you find them. When you're going on Facebook and you find, I want to keep that video, I explain how to save that. So take a look at that document. It's over there. Oh, I know, Marty, you're waiting for number 7 tomorrow. All right, everyone. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me in the studio. I'll be back again tomorrow for more fun. Bye for now.